Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is James, and I am the Game Master for today's game of RuneQuest, role-playing in Glorantha. This is a continuation of the A New Hero series, where we try to explain the mechanics and the lore and the general gameplay flow of RuneQuest. We are joined, as always, by David and by Bridget, the standard cast, and we are heading towards the pointy end of our season at the minute. We're getting towards the dramatic and exciting climactic points. But first of all, before we go into any of that, I want to say thank you to Sirenscape, which is a wonderful tool that we use to improve our games. And I want to get our cast to introduce themselves to everybody. So, Bridget, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Bridget. I am a community ambassador for Chaosium, which basically means I can help get you plugged into the communities or get access to the tools that you need to self-publish on Drive Through RPG, either for RuneQuest, 7th Sea, Call of Cthulhu, and very soon, Pendragon. So if you have questions about self-publishing your own content, feel free to hit me up. My email address, as always, is Bridget, a bridge that you walk across with 2 T's, at chaosium.com. And tonight I am playing a character that I thought was very nearly going to die the last time we played. I was like, oh, James just killed me. What am I going to do? Yeah, so I'm playing Iratia, who is a warrior of... I mean, arguably, we kind of have this weird hybrid between Vinga and Orlanth, and I think she's kind of like straddling the two with the storm inside her. And right now, her arm is still attached, so small victories.
Hanging from a thread, just barely. Look, the last great dramatic battle where you were fighting against the great swooping dinosaur was so easy that it's typical that 2 raptors would give you this much trouble. Then again, you didn't have the Humakti.
It's weird the Humakti left and suddenly things got a lot harder.
Right.
Dave, do you want to jump in now?
Yeah, let's do it. G'day, I am Dave, and I run our sister campaign, our Call of Cthulhu stream each week, and we will actually be having our final session for the year this coming weekend. So hop in to see how we wrap things up as we come into the holiday break. But for this stream, I am playing Telos. I am a devout worshipper of Yinkin, the Shadow Cat god. How cool is that? And I'm here with my half-sister to pursue the Dancer in the Dark, find out why the undead are attacking our village, and kill something really big and cool. Not
Absolutely.
in that order, actually. Probably in the reverse order. Kill something big and cool.
Okay, kill
comes
something
first.
really big and cool. Find out why. Be with your sister.
Whatever. If she lives, she lives.
Way it is. Okay,
Nice energy.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right.
And yes, Dave is absolutely right. First about all the character and plot stuff, but also that the final session for the Call of Cthulhu game will be this weekend. So we would love to see you there, and we'll be back. Final session for the year, to be clear. We will be returning briefly afterwards. I also want to say that we recently had a Call of Cthulhu live play with Call of Cthulhu creative director Mike Mason, which is currently available to watch on the Chaosium YouTube channel. And that featured Harley, who jumped in and was the aforementioned Humakti, who managed to save us all and that we miss very, very dearly. I will also say that since we're heading towards the end of the year, we are going to be getting towards the finale for the season of this season of A New Hero. It might be today.
Oh.
It might be next week. It depends kind of on the sliding scale of where things land, depending on what happens in the next couple of hours of gameplay.
Yeah, we might be re-rolling characters to kick off the new year.
Right.
How
New
fun
character,
is that?
new year, new you.
Literally. Great way to do it. Okay, so just to clarify all of the previous happenings, our 2 heroes, Telos and Iratia, have traveled from their village to the upland Marsh, a terrible swampland filled with all manner of undeath and undead creatures. Inside, they have been searching for a dancer in the darkness, a strange and powerful undead being who was plaguing their village, and they have finally managed to track the beast to an abandoned ancient tower from the old Empire of Worm Friends. That is the ancient peoples that came before Dragon Pass was settled by the Sartorites. And now they're going to be able to enter the tower. They are hopefully going to be able to confront the Dancer in the Darkness and resolve all of this chaos before they return. Chaos, resolve all of this mess before they get to return home. Now, you guys came in. This tower, as I mentioned, was sort of embedded into a crater almost, and it was surrounded by that heavy fog that has been following you the whole time you've been in the upland marsh. It very much feels like you penetrated suddenly into the eye of a storm or the eye of a tornado, where the fog is now just at a distance, and instead of hearing the bubbling of mud and the distant staggers and moans and grumbles of these undead roaming around, there's an odd silence as you both now stand at the lip of the crater, having just defeated these two very, very dangerous raptors. Give us a snapshot of your characters, where they are right now, and how well attached their arms are, respectively.
Said pointed.
I was about to say, I felt that shade from all the way over here, James.
Well, mine's easier because I actually came out of this relatively unscaled. It's the beauty of being the guy that stands at the back and shoots arrows. So Telos is re-securing his hand axe, gathering up his bow, plucking arrows out of the things we've slain, and then somewhat, not awkwardly, but cautiously turning to Irachia, because you were quite severely wounded, and I am not great at healing. It's kind of you always doing it to me, and I think in this reversal, I do have some minor magic, so I probably am beginning to prepare to cast it, but I'm kind of aware that it's really more your wheelhouse and seeing what your plan is.
How are you looking, Irachia? Are you teetering a little bit? What's the situation?
She looks irate as shit is how she looks right now. She is on fire. She is boiling over with emotions between like, what the hell just happened? She is afraid that they might be overmatched. She's afraid that they might be underprepared. She is in excruciating pain. That arm is hanging on by a thread. She is angry that she let that thing get so close. She is angry at the tactical decisions that she made with like surrendering her sword. So she's probably pacing back and forth, like switching languages between, I guess, her native tongue and maybe trade talk are the two that she speaks.
Swearing in every tongue you know.
Yeah, she's moving back and forth, casting on herself in this circuit where she's hitting point A to point B to point C, and she's just in this triangular circuit, blending languages, highly upset, and just this trail of blood running behind her in this circuit that she's cutting around. She looks like a ping pong ball. Not a ping pong guy. What's that game where the ball goes in and like bounces off the walls and doesn't really do anything?
Pong?
You guys remember that arcade game?
Pong.
You shoot the ball up. Pong.
Oh no, the brick breaker or whatever it's called.
Yes,
oh yeah. I'm with you.
That's her. No purpose, no point, just in motion to end upset.
Okay, fantastic.
And healing.
All right. You're channeling once again the magic from the relic that you rolled at character creation, which is this belt that's going to allow you to cast healing magic. As you watch Telos, we'll quickly go into the mechanics for this healing. Now you can. I don't want you to go and now roll a ton of power checks to go through each sequential heal. So what we're just going to do, I'll just get you to roll one power check in general, and then depending on that, if you get spectacularly well,
or whatever.
I might award you some. If you crit it or something, we might award you some extra points based on, as in you might save some magic points.
Mm-hmm. 35. She's okay.
Okay, fantastic.
I don't think it's anything sexy.
No, but so you're kind of wandering past, you're muttering over yourself, and you're slowly healing. This is going to take you a little while, a couple of minutes as you pace, and even the casting times might be sequential. It's an exhausting process, and you're kind of stopping and stretching your arm out all of the time. Now, I believe that you were at -4, which is exceeding your hit points down. So you can still heal this up, but to get back to full, you are going to need to dump in, I believe, a full 8 magic points into healing this.
Okay.
All right, fantastic.
That is going to take a while.
Yes. Make sure you track how your magic is going, because it will become relevant as we now head into the next section of the game. Around you, while you're delaying a little bit, everything is a little bit muted outside of this Eye of the Storm situation, so you can't hear that same presence of undead, but you can feel deep in your gut that you've hit the center of Mount Doom, and the Eye of Sauron has spun back towards you. You are certain that there are going to be a rapidly approaching group of undead that are going to converge upon you. Now, that said, you led them on a merry chase, using your cult spirit and using all kinds of stuff, but you probably don't have a lot of time. Tell us, is there anything you want to be doing while Aracha is healing herself?
Yeah, so I'm keeping an eye out on anything coming in through the fog, but also on the tower itself. Is there any evidence of creatures moving inside there? Do I see lights flickering or hear that sort of floorboards creaking and things like that?
Sure. Why don't you make... First of all, there's no visible lights. This great long tower is sunken into the ground of this crater, and it is at an angle where, although the lower floors are kind of okay, by the time you get to the top, it's pretty significantly perched. You would have trouble standing on the floor and would slide down pretty actively. I think that you can't see through rock, so I might actually ask you to make a listen check here.
Can't? I've been doing all this time. Bet there's a spell that lets me do that. All right, I'm gonna make a listen roll. I imagine this is gonna be hard. You gonna slap a negative 20 on this sucker?
It's as I mentioned, it's actually pretty quiet, but it's more you can listen. Go straight roll.
I shall then. Let's take this.
But I appreciate
rolling under 45.
Willing to hamstring yourself.
39. That's a success.
That's a success.
Listen, fancy.
Well done.
Thank you.
So
myself.
Rolling in what you can see, obviously, there is no lights on inside the building. There is no obvious movement. There are windows along, but it's pretty dark inside. This place looks, for all intents and purposes, abandoned. You can hear a little bit inside, though. Specifically, there is this clinking and clattering, which you would identify as the faint jangling of chains that are knocking against each other and are swaying in this invisible breeze that is all about. You will also occasionally hear creaks and movement within the building, and this isn't somebody walking around, at least as far as you are aware, but it's also just a little beyond what should be present in terms of a house settling or a building settling. There's a bit too much disturbance. Exactly what that means, though, you're not 100% sure.
Tower's haunted.
Yeah, 100%. Clanking chains and strange creaks tend to be there. So in a few minutes, you're healed up. Aracha, you can turn back to Telos, and the two of you can approach however you would like. I mentioned last time that you can scale down the incline. It's pretty easy to get down. Getting out is going to be the problem. Or if any of you want to try and head in from the top, you can try and do a running jump and grab onto the top of this perch thing, which gets pretty close to the lip of the crater that you're standing about.
That would be so dope.
I guess as Zyrek has finished pacing, Telos has perched himself by the edge and is sort of sitting quite still, picking at one of the arrows as he listens. And I am going to say, more will be coming, and it's unlikely those were the only guards. So we need to be careful. That same mistake, we get caught again, we might not survive.
Standing behind him, it's almost like she's like making sure everything is inserted and healed the way it needs to be. She's rolling that shoulder, working it out, and her eyes are just going to drift towards the horizon. And while she's looking that direction, she's going to direct this line of inquiry down to Telos. How long do we have?
We evaded them for a day, so a few hours maybe. Does that sound right, Jim?
That sounds pretty perfect, yes.
Enough time to begin searching and then to arrive at a dramatically suitable point.
Exactly, yes. And just to make it more dramatically suitable, it is possible that occasionally a straggler might arrive who happened to be a bit closer. But yes, just vague enough for me to be able to really do whatever I want. Thank you.
Just to have a really good time. Good for you.
Telos is also very aware that inside that tower, he's going to be quite seriously ineffective because a bow's not going to be useful at all. So, I'm not going to be as effective inside. If they close the distance, if there is something there, I can hold it off. But I'm a lot weaker than you are. We should be smart. I guess just avoid it if we can. Lead anything we can back to the outside where we have a chance, but...
Don't underestimate yourself. You're tactically more sound than I am. Your intelligence may carry us. And she's going to look up at the sky. And James, I'm scared to ask this question, but how much daylight do we have right now?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to tell because the daylight is not really penetrating through the fog, but know that soon the sun will set and that strange prismatic kind of colorful light that takes over the swamp at nighttime will arrive. Let's put it all together and say that you have about as much that the creatures will arrive at nightfall kind of situation.
As we're now preparing for the final bits, I'm going to wrap my bow back up in its skin and unstring it, stow all the arrows well away, and then readjust. I have like a cool little knife on a sheath in my hand axe and like strap the shield and tighten it up. And then just as we prepare to go in, I'm going to take in a deep inhale and confirm the scent, basically, as what we detected on Via, the horrible centaur.
Yep, the Stitch Centaur, absolutely. You take in a deep whiff after you put away your bow, and absolutely, your nose is filled with first those more spiritual elements, that kind of ancient whisper of a different time, the older structure of this tower, then more practical sense, the mud, the stink, the foulness of this place, and then now that you're closer, a harshness below it all, what smells very chemical. It smells very much like, almost like the kitchens at Iratia's Inn. There is a sickly kind of musty scent that reminds you of congealed fat and cleaning supplies and all the rest of it.
Weird laboratory sort of thing going on.
Yeah, I was desperately trying to find a way to say alchemical scent without immediately throwing that out.
Okay. Night's drawing near. Let's go.
So you'll be heading in for the main door?
I'm confident I could climb it. I'm not confident we need to. Feels like an unnecessary risk.
Oh, to be clear, I'm just saying you can roll this in a pretty safe way where you can, if it's kind of which way do you want to go. I'm not going to penalize unless you fumble a check. I'm not going to have you smack your head. If you fail, it'll just be like, you know what?
Actually, you know what? Let's bake this in our favor as best we can. Can we do like tie a rope around an arrow and fire it at the top so that we make our exit easier when we're, or actually like I'll tie a rope soundly to a tree down here, then fire it up at the top. It's not gonna I'm not expecting like it grapple hooks wedges in, but when we get to the top, we can secure that rope to that point and we've got a line going down.
Oh.
And then my second plan is I carry snares with me as a hunter. Once we go in the front, I'm gonna say, we don't leave this way, and I'm gonna set traps at the main door so that anything coming through that way is gonna get and then we'll barricade it. Our plan will be we clear the tower floor by floor, then zip line out the top. It's gonna be so sweet.
That's gonna be great. Okay, fantastic. That's perfect.
I will intend to do so. Do you need any rolls from me for that?
No, that's all fine. You take your bow, you fire a single arrow, it arcs around and it hits the top of the tower. When you get close enough to sort of see, you can spot that there is a staircase leading up that will bring you to the top of the tower.
Yep.
But you're not aiming for that, you're just trying to get something onto the top so that you can attach it to one of the spires so you can zip line back across. Once you've fired that, the two of you scramble down the muddy wall of the crater and find yourself at the bottom. There is still there, lying, one of the bodies of the raptor creatures. This one, although you destroyed it, you didn't technically finish it off in the way that you know you have to kill undead. So you can spot it occasionally twitching. Would either of you like to do the honors and finish it?
Yeah, Iratia would have to.
Hell yeah.
All right. One swift plunge from the sword and the thing stops twitching, and you can make your way towards the main entrance to this tower. It's a pretty ornate entryway, a double door set that has what would have probably once been stairs leading up to it. It's not formal enough to have like a portcullis or anything like that, but this would have been a relatively opulent building in the past. Unfortunately, you're not able to tell whether it was entirely decorative or entirely functional, because it appears to be in a style where making something look dangerous and militaristic
can always chuck spikes on it. Yeah,
is popular. Exactly. So are those spikes defensive spikes cleverly placed, or are they just spikes? Not really sure.
Any other evidence of ruins as we were approaching here, or now that we're down? Like, was there a village around this tower that we've been scrambling over the fallen walls of, or is this kind of like a wizard tower in the middle of nowhere?
There has been evidence of ruins throughout the Upland Marsh, but nothing this well preserved. The Upland Marsh took a lot of buildings over the years, and you would be able to find archaeological evidence of people who lived here long ago. But this is very much like finding a grotto with a preserved castle in it or something like that. This is a place of significance. Now, there are definitely rumors that this is the sort of place where that happens. I would liken it to traveling into the depths of the Amazon and finding a temple, sort of thing. This is where you find those things. It's still rare.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Okay.
So you get up to this entryway, you slip inside. There were once large wooden doors with what looked like studded metal set across them, but they have long since rotted away, and you were able to step in to the bottom floor and look around. As soon as you step into the building, and I'll describe it in a second, it's exactly what you're going to expect. It's a spooky, old, disused place, but something happens right as you cross the threshold. You both become immediately aware of a very specific anxious sensation that creeps up your backs. Can I get both of you to please make a power check?
Oh, damn.
Power time.
Something good?
I rolled exactly a success, which is a 60.
Yep.
The 6 is right next to the 0. I was so close to fumbling that. I thought it was a fumble. It like bounced off it and settled. That is
oh my god. That would have been great to have. How about you, Aracha? How did you go?
16 under 70. We're good.
Oh, nicely done.
Okay. Yeah. So you're both successful, which is good. As you step inside the building, you get this creeping sense of anxiety come over you, and you feel like you've been introduced to someone. It's the same sensation that you might get when you meet somebody, you shake their hand for the first time, and the two of you will make your first eye contact. You get a sudden awareness of a presence, of a figure, and more importantly, of a name. It's not a collection of syllables in the same way that it's not Bob, Steve, Karen, Fred, whatever. It's an emotion, it's a sensation. It's a word that might be different to each of you, but it is the sensation or the anxiety that your characters both have the most surrounding death.
Oh,
so
fuck yes.
You might be it's the idea of never seeing your family again. It's the idea of having failed.
Wow.
It's the idea of pain of a harsh death.
That rules so hard. So this is we'd have a different name for it, and
yes.
it's that rules.
Quite possibly. So I would like to ask you then what name you both have for this creature. What names comes into your awareness?
So I have my actual highest passion is a fear of war. It's what we lost our mother to, and I have a fear of basically like calamity, the clash of things. So I think mine would be something like the March of Boots or something. Like it'd be like, people like treading off to, it's like, it's the soldiers leaving homes. So I think it'd be like
that.
I think I'll do the March of Boots on well-churned ground. The March of Boots on well-churned ground would be the name that I have, which is
Boots.
I'm going to record these, no reason.
Well-trained ground.
Fantastic. So, Telos, you become overwhelmed with this awareness. And Rachel, what about you?
One, James, this is brilliant. This is like storytelling, top shelf. How did you even do this construction? One, chef's kiss to you. I think with Iratia, it's going to dive into her love of family and probably the actual foundation that her anger is built on. So anger, according to my therapist, is actually built on fear, hurt, and pain. Those are the three things that channel into anger. So I think those simmering under the surface, which is giving Iratia this explosive anger that she has when she's fully turned on, is going to be something to the effect of tying it into her family. You didn't do enough. It's too late.
Fantastic. I absolutely love it. Let me record that too. So with this success that you both got, first of all, the presence on your shoulders, creeping up your spine, you're aware of it. You're immediately aware that in some capacity, this is the dancer in the darkness. This is the presence of the beast that you've come to hunt. And it also doesn't linger with you. It does not overwhelm you. And you find yourself immediately repulsed by the sensation. Death can sometimes have an alluring aspect to it, a very sinister and dark element. And you can feel that the dancer in the darkness exists in that seductive appeal of oblivion, but you are repulsed by it. And mechanically, that will have implications if you should manage to face it down the line. But for the time being, you both resist any immediate effects, glance at each other. You both become aware that you have felt a name, although you may feel it to be different. If either of you would like to refer to it as your respective name, the other will understand it as theirs. So,
wow.
Yeah. But you can step inside the building proper after that. The first floor of the building, immediately as you come in, sets you up for what you're going to expect all throughout. This place is dilapidated, and there are large sections of masonry, rock, staircases that have tumbled about everywhere. There should be side rooms, there should be furniture. This place could have been opulent at one stage, but while you're in here, it has pretty much entirely fallen apart. The bottom floor itself is just a glorified foyer, but you can move quickly and without going upstairs, just to give you an idea of what you're going to see, you can peek and glance up towards the second floor. There's so much damage in this place that you can almost see all the way to the top, just through the gaps in the floor. And you can see that it looks like there are probably, given the size of the first level, 3 major levels to this place. The one immediately above the foyer looks like it is the source of the terrible alchemical smell. This close, you can pick up more distinct flavors, notes of strange herbs, notes of bitter aftertastes, and you can even hear the faint bubbling and burning of active alchemical components. Around you, There is just rubble of this old foyer. If the collection of you would like to, you can begin to explore it and try to piece things back. From what you look around, you just see trash, but with a trained eye, you might be able to say, no, this is from that era, and this implies this implies that kind of structure. Otherwise, it's just move up through the building, and I will tell you what you find on each floor as you head back towards the top. Thus far, no additional noise, no additional presence, and tell us you can stop and place your snares if you would like.
So, I think we're kind of it's a place where we don't actually think there's anything moving around here, and we know we've been detected. But I think it's still that you can't speak above a whisper. It's like in a place where you're like just there. So I think as we get inside, I'll say, as quietly as I can, it's here. And then I'm going to crouch down, and I'm going to begin to set snares in front of the door and reinforce our plan if we're not coming out this way. So any rubble down here, I'm going to move across. Again, I don't really want to drag it because it feels like disturbing a holy place or something, but basically barricade this way, making it as difficult as possible for us to get out, but also for anything else to get in. And if there's any windows, I'll whack some stuff up there as Irachia begins to take into place and before we proceed to the next level. So that's what I'll be doing.
Okay, fantastic.
Are there windows, I guess, leading out?
There are windows along the inside. They look out mostly just towards the flat walls of this place. If you jumped out of any of them, it would be a problem from the first floor. But since the thing is basically embedded in this crater, they don't give you any great insight on what's happening outside.
Sure. I will begin to...
Yeah. I'm just thinking what I want to ask you for here.
I can make a pitch.
We're going to say that at this step... Pardon me?
I can pitch something if you want.
Yeah, please do. But at this stage, I'm assuming that you are taking a minute or two to do this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So there's not going to be.
Irachia run defense for him. Back to back while he's setting these snares. She is going to reply to that statement. I know, and then through gritted teeth, I want out of this tower as quickly as possible.
Okay. Battle or survival, Dave?
Oh.
I think.
Battle is very cool.
Battle is so cool.
Points. I have no points. Battle 100% tees out. What's the old survival look like? My survival's actually shit too. I've also already taken it. I'll do battle. I think battle's awesome. That's like setting the stage for it. And I think if I my understanding would be if I fail this, I've still laid them, but it's going to be as much a detriment to us as to anything else.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it'll come back to.
One of those things where you put a bunch of stuff in a pile and then someone just walks through it and you go, great,
Yeah.
Around.
All right, I'm gonna roll battle, and I might augment this because I'd love to get a win.
Sure.
I'm gonna augment this with. That's so funny. I feel like stasis. Oh, actually,
Stasis would work.
Yeah, which is interesting because my stasis actually isn't great, but I think it is, it's kind of fighting against passion a little bit, if anything. So my stasis is 40. I do favor movement, but I'm close to balance. So I'm going to augment with stasis. And that is going to be a success.
Okay, fantastic.
The old stasis rune. And this is what's cool about RuneQuest generally, because I was just thinking that, because I've ticked stasis now, there's a chance that improves in the next time, and that is just me shifting towards that side of the scale. It's, maybe a bit more cautious, a bit more whatever.
Exactly.
So I'm going to add 20 to this roll now. The old battle is 10, 20, a total of 40. All right.
That's okay. You can still do it.
23 as a success.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, there's enough tools here that you can really make a actually pretty effective barricade, especially against the zombie creatures that you were going for. Mm-hmm. You set up something, you're pretty sure that if a zombie or a raptor hits this thing, if they get past it, it's going to be after a great deal of flailing and smashing.
Yeah.
Not only will they make a ton of noise, you will have enough of a delay to get to the zip line and get the hell out.
Get to the zip line.
Well, also, I think it's interesting to note that as RH is concerned about speed, Telos is the opposite almost. I think he's trying to go as methodically, not methodically, but let's secure this first session, go to the second, let's not take unnecessary risks. And probably by the time he's finishing up and looking over things, you probably feel the let's go.
Tactics versus passion.
Yeah,
that's literally quintessential them.
Do you think there's understanding coming from you, Irachia, though, or do you think it's a building frustration?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Understanding and a building frustration.
That's a yes. One thing she would like to do while she's, looking up to the second floor and she's just like peeking around corridors, basically while she's running defense for her brother, is she does want to know what story this wretched tower is telling her. Just like at a glance, am I looking at fire damage? Is this all just age? Does it look like a battle happened here? Like, she's an orator, she's a storyteller, so she's just pulling pieces from her memory and kind of like projecting forward, like, okay, stupid, evil, emotional, vulnerable tower, talk to me. What are you telling me here?
Absolutely. I like that a lot. My instinct would be, I'll get you to make a search check. I know that you're not specifically looking through everything. Alternatively, I could also, I don't think I want you to make a storytelling roll or something equivalent here. So just do a search check.
Evaluate?
Evaluate could work. Yeah, evaluates. Which section is that in?
It's under knowledge. I was looking at knowledge.
It's under knowledge?
Evaluate, manage household for like...
Evaluate, yeah. Let's I'll actually evaluate or manage household. I would be very happy.
I think you might have one of those that you have. I think, if I remember correctly.
I think you have both of those. You have evaluate at 20 and manage household at 40.
Oh, beautiful. Let's do the manage household just because I love the flair of that. She is not going to augment here, mostly because she's just frustrated that they're not moving. And that's a 74, a fail.
Okay, first glance, age. Maybe something went through here at some point, smashed some stuff up, but there is no clear insight.
Okay. And for what it's worth, no fresh blood that she can see?
None on this floor, but with that, I think you head up, from what I understand, and you're going to hit this alchemical lab. Coming up onto this level, as you glance around, you can see that this is clearly a workshop. It is set up with a strange combination of very old, salvaged, ruined pieces of furniture and equipment, combined with some that look sparkling new, absolutely well put together, must have been sourced at great expense and with a great deal of difficulty. By and large, there's about 7 or 8 tables, each of them covered with a combination of strange glass boilers and strange lecterns with books written across them in symbols and a language that at first glance neither of you immediately understand. Some of these liquids are active. You can see that there is no flame supporting any of these, so there's not a burner or something, but there is below one of the sets of glass setups a squat, flat red ruby stone that appears to be giving out some kind of heat, and you can see vaguely in the light shining off it what looks like the symbol of the fire rune, and it appears to be emanating a warmth that is treating the alchemical concoction. The smell in here is very heavy, and you can see little bits of steam and smoke that are starting to drift around the room as you step into it and look about. In here, there is no dried blood either. So a staircase leads up towards the next level. It is crumbled and a little older. You'll have to jump across a couple of gaps. No check required. And then you can keep going.
Do we feel the presence of the...
Yes, and the more that you come in, the more that you feel this presence emerge, this presence strengthen and grow.
Okay. Coming onto this level, I tell us going to stand still for the initial voice. He doesn't immediately move. I'm going to just look over everything from the start. Once I begin to actually look at things, I'd be interested in 2 things primarily. One is, are there any books I can read that are in a tongue I speak? I presume beast speech isn't a common one. Although if she's doing experiments on making beasts, maybe, because the centaurs speak it.
Yeah.
And if she made the centaur... Actually, speaking of that, any evidence of Via being created? I'm making a longer list than I intended. And the other one is the absence of fire. I'm wondering if that's notable. And Tellus is quite affiliated with fire. He's thinking, could this be a weakness? Does she possibly fear fire? Is this like just a defensive thing? So I'm wondering if maybe that's something we could... So, like, I might strike up a torch and see if there's anything that will reinforce that suspicion.
It's going to be a couple of minutes spent here once again. You reach the next floor and you stop.
Yeah.
I'll say quickly that with your activated, more powerful smell, you can detect the scent of animal from upstairs. If there's information about Via and about experiments in that nature, you would expect it is on the second floor. By the way, for you in this one, I'm clumping into one. I'm sorry, I kind of didn't make that clear, but there's 3 main levels for you as an accessory entry.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so this is level 1 functional.
This is level 1. Level 2, Via, and then level 3 will be the one up the top. I should have made that clearer.
And is 3 the roof or the...
No, it's an enclosed area. The roof you could see from the outside. It's effectively just a...
I see.
There's very little up there that you could... And it's on such a perch that you're sliding down and you would stand on one of the spires that is meant to provide kind of rampart cover.
I'm with you.
But here's what I'd like you to make a test for. I want you to make a language check of some kind. Given the relationship to the creation of the centaurs, you can use beast speech if you would like, but I want you to take a -20 to this roll. It's going to be hard, and you're going to be reverse engineering some of the text. You're not going to be able to necessarily read the whole thing, but you'll be understanding what language it is, and you can possibly get some kind of information out of it.
I guess, is any written in Hjortling? Language we actually speak natively?
If you want to go through it in detail, I'll get you to make a check. But at first glance, no Hjortling, no. But you can make a Hjortling check because root languages kind of thing. Like you're still trying to just sort of piece together things. So you can make a Hjortling check if you would like over a beast speech check. And what I will say is, given the relationship to beast speech, don't take the penalty if you use beast speech, I think is what I meant to add to that. Okay. So if you use Hjortling, negative that by 20. Yeah. You can light a torch, and you will have to make here, I think, either an elder race lore or a cult lore, I think would be the most appropriate for you to understand more about this creature and whether fire is going to be something that is suitable. I would like you to make one or the other, or if you would like, you can mention something to Iracha, unless Iracha, you have a different idea, you'd like to take a different approach.
I think when Iracha does a quick glance around this room, she's immediately finished and is ready to go upstairs. But once she sees Telos picking up books and idling, she's probably going to suck on her teeth loudly and do 2 things. Is there a window in this room?
Yes, there is. It looks out towards a kind of combination of the muddy, cragged wall of the crater and a little bit of the ground. Okay.
I know this tower is at an incline. One, is this window glassed in currently, or is it just like the open window?
Age has long since broken it. You could step right out.
So if she just goes to that window and she looks out of it, I know she probably can't see above like the crater dip, but where are they in relationship to the door? Because if this needs to be their exit, she does want to make sure, like, how close are we to dropping out of this window to the ground, and how close are we to that front door that he booby trapped?
The higher you go, the more perch you are going to be, and the more difficult it's going to be to get out. If you jumped out this window, you would. It would be a check to see if you lose your turn stumbling, but there's not going to be any significant damage landing on this kind of wet ground unless you fumble and twist an ankle.
Perfect. And this is not right next door to the front door. Can I see the front door from looking out?
No, it's a 90 degrees around, or a quarter of the way around the circular base of the structure.
Perfect. And the last thing she's going to do, if Telos is doing the whole high intelligence thing, she is going to get fixated with that rock that has the fire rune, because she's thinking like portable fire could be hella beneficial to everyone. So like she is going to do like the hand over the beakers just to see how hot things are simmering, and then she's going to wind up snatching that rock.
Absolutely. So yes, going through it appears that the only beaker that is currently heated is the one that is near this ambient stone. You can pick it up and mark it down in your inventory. This is a consistently hot thing that it's quite burning hot when you first touch it. But once you move it away, it will start to cool rapidly. Magic you're aware of and you will have an understanding of it. You can feel that this thing has ambient magic. By moving it, you appear to have deactivated it.
Okay.
You could figure out how to use it again pretty quickly. It would just be a power check and sort of a
magic points into it and
yeah.
And then she's gonna go wait by the door.
I'm probably going to pretty quickly. I need to adjust this plan from the get-go because your boy's illiterate, and I forgot that. So I can't read.
No.
I don't know read or write, which completely tracks. I never would have learned to. So that's 100% right.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm That said, Tellus does want to try and get a sense of what's happening here. Is this where the undead are created? Is this just like a studying place? So I guess I just want to make like a
search check would be the standard.
Yeah, like
just to go
can I just make like a flat intelligence? I know that that's not quite.
No, that's fine.
I'm really going for like a vibe. Like, was this a study? Was this where they were doing experiments? No,
this will be more generalized information, but yes.
Yeah. So I'll make I'm rolling under intelligence. 23. That's a success.
Okay, it looks like here was a study area, vaguely a workshop to make certain alchemical concoctions that you would guess are probably used at some point in the creation of the monsters that you have seen. This area in itself does not appear to be dramatically important right now. However, you will realize two things. The information in this book is almost certainly very, very valuable to the right people. If you want to take some of the notes here, you could gather this together and this could be passed on. You know that there are sages and wise folk who would pay a lot of money to get their hands on this, probably because the information within it could be turned to very powerful purposes. So you want to be a bit careful about who you give it to. Second thing is a lot of these alchemical contraptions, even the ones that are cooled, as you get close to them, you're going to realize that they are either A, quite toxic, or B, explosive.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm of the mind that this is the sort of thing that should never see the light of day. Nor be studied from beyond these walls. My instinct would be we burn this tower down before we leave. I guess looking at Iratia, this stuff is dangerous. I think we should destroy it. All of it.
There's nothing that we could use in the benefit of our families, of our tribe?
I don't necessarily know how a dancer is formed. There's a chance that if we salvage the materials it studies, we would just be creating another one down the line. All of this would be useful. All of this would be powerful. I'm just not certain that anyone should have it.
We can cycle back to this discussion?
Yeah.
Eyes glancing. There's not a fireplace in this room already, is there?
There would be against a wall an area. There's not a fire, but there is an area where a fire could be built.
Okay.
I'm not going to take
ready?
anything. Yep.
Right. So as for information about whether or not fire is relevant, I think with the intelligence check just in general, maybe. Dark things don't like fire, but beyond that, you're not sure. Okay. Up to the second floor?
Let's do it.
All right. When you reach the second floor, this is some kind of surgery suite.
Oh, hell yeah.
You step up and your nostrils are immediately overwhelmed by the sense of blood and bodies alongside all of the alchemical odors that are drifting up from above. In addition, the smoke that is in the air, the haze, has gotten thicker here. It is starting to drift around, and that presence that you felt, that thing that you both named, is becoming stronger and stronger. You can feel all of the hairs on your neck prickling up. You're certain you are being watched. This room is filled with all kinds of tables and racks and what look like they are repurposed torture devices that have been used to strap bodies and bits of bodies all around the room in general. The perch is such here that some of them are in like situations where they've been strapped against sharp leans, and they would go tumbling straight out to the other side of the building if they were let to fall. There is a grand collection of all kinds of animals that you can see here. Bits, some of the horses that look like they were captured before, what look like old corpses that have been exhumed. There are also some of the corpses that look unusually fresh. Nothing appears to be alive. Nothing appears to be moving. And then scattered about on tables, around bodies, hanging out of semi-dissected bodies. There are all these pieces of tools and equipment and machinery.
I retract my previous statement.
Yeah.
Let's burn everything.
A final staircase leads up to what you are certain is the final floor.
I don't even want to study anything in this room, I don't think. Let's...
Move straight along. Okay, fantastic. You turn away from the grisly sight and you head straight up the stairs onto the top floor. When you arrive, emerging up, the final room is barren but for chains. Dozens, maybe hundreds of these great thick chains that are hanging from the ceiling. The building is so tilted here that they are all kind of drifting and scraping in amongst each other. Once you get to this top floor, the smoke becomes tangible, enough that you are certain that it is emerging from a very, very specific, source. Something in this room is promoting smoke. Between the chains, painted all across the walls and around, you can see symbology, some kind of arcane, magical writing, a kind that you are completely not familiar with. I mentioned before in some of the previous games that sorcery is a thing, a field of magic that the two of you have no exposure to. It is the purview of very few Siderites, mostly the Lunars. And you can see up here that there is some kind of sorcerous activity at work. These chains, they are flicking and they are shooting around, blown in a wind that isn't present. And this smoke here, it is thick. As you arrive, you become certain that this smoke, this intangible something, is the dancer. It is what you are here for. It is distended through the entire building, but its greatest concentration is up here on the top floor. If either of you peek out towards the top, you will see at the very top, you'll see exactly what I described, a rampart where you can retie the rope and head back across. That's the well. So, the building is empty, but the creature is here. It's just not in a form that you can interact with.
Does it immediately start like rattling chains, going like, leave this place?
The chains are rattling pretty actively.
Yeah.
It's not making a scene yet.
This is for sure the worst room to fight it in as well.
Oh God, yeah.
But I want to see
James,
what happens.
how far up are the chains from the point that they're attached to the ceiling to the point, like, can we reach them?
So there's many of them all about. Like, imagine just a series of hooks that have been dotted randomly throughout the room. Some of them dangle straight down, and they like trail across the floor. Some of them are limp because of the angle. You could definitely reach several of them. There's also the symbology, the writing that scans around everywhere. Can I get both of you to make a homeland lore?
Yeah.
Homeland lore.
Oh, 19. You, which is, yeah, that's a success for me. Under 50.
Okay, fantastic.
Regular success here.
So both of you immediately become aware, glancing at the way that these sort of sorcerous symbols are set up and the way that some of the chains are draped across the ground like snakes flowing out in circles. Although you don't know what the magic is here and you don't understand the details, they have been set out in a pattern, in a style that is very reminiscent of the way that you in your village would set up tokens, gifts, and ritual components for festivals where you would contact your ancestors.
Okay.
Well, specifically the spirits of your ancestors.
Do any of the runes or the symbology that we're seeing reflect back to the two places that we've encountered possibly like this residual effect from the dancer? Forgive me for not being able to remember the locations, but one was like an underground temple, and then another one we had fought, I think it was the same temple, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. So when you were back in your original village, the areas that you felt the strongest residual presence from the dancer were areas where ancestors and the dead and beings of undeath or just beings that have passed on, would be given the ability to be very present. Within the tombs, there are all kinds of stuff to bring the memories forward. In here, this place has been set up, and it's a very sinister way, not a good way, but it's been set up in a fashion to channel the powers of beings that are beyond. Not necessarily spirits as much as literally death. In fact, you can see that some of the chains that are draping across the ground form the symbol of the death rune. The undeath rune, rather. Death rune being something completely different.
My instinct would be to try and call out to it here. I mean, we originally did come here pursuing information. We want to know why it was dicking around with stuff. But I'm not necessarily the talker. I get the sense that this thing can hear us and everything too, so I don't really want to whisper anything. I'm going to stand, I think it's sort of freezing the doorway. I imagine also that sense of like anxiety and closeness to death that we felt down at the bottom has only multiplied as we've stepped up each one. So I think, I become more bestial as well. I'm like, crouched down, look like I'm ready to spring and bail at a moment's notice. I'm very twitchy at the moment. Anything comes around, I sort of freeze up and clutch the hand axe tighter. I think I will whisper under gritted teeth, we need to know why it sent things to our village. We need to know what it did, and if it won't speak to us, then we'll burn this place down.
So she's gonna walk up behind you, and if you're in that quadruped bestial mode, she can at least interpret enough to know that you're afraid. So she's just gonna very gently put a hand. I hate to say it's almost like she's putting a hand on a loyal dog, but that's almost kind of like the dynamics right now, because she understands the head space that he's in. And then she's gonna ask, and maybe we should get its attention. And she's gonna do a hand motion with you that's almost the effect of like her little air elemental that she summoned before.
Yeah.
She's gonna motion that to you, and she's like, we can get its attention.
Yeah. I'm gonna nod. I'm flicking my eyes up to both the exit that is our way out in theory and the chains that are draped in front of it, and also back to below where 2 levels down are all those explosive beakers and things. And I suspect that's the go bang room. Also right in the middle though, and this is great because I've fucked myself. If we have to go down to the laboratory to make the explosion, you then can't get out the front door, so you have to go down,
can't get out the front
burn
door,
it, and then run all the way back up, which is gonna be excellent. So I'm figuring out how quickly I think I can go up and down.
And with the green light, she has just enough magic to command a 1-point air elemental to send into the room to go play.
Okay, so this is literally going to be just letting it out. You're not going to be casting the command spell. You are just going to be using your magic.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, this is one to suck up some of that smoke, give us a better visibility on the room. And then any chains that happen to get pulled off of hooks would be awesome. Let's get its attention.
Absolutely. Okay.
And we'll negotiate from a position of power.
So you back up a little bit, Telos and Iracha. You step forward towards the center of the room. Telos, can I please get you to make a scan check? And Iracha, could I please get you to describe your casting process and then go forward, and I'll get you to make a appropriate air rune check, I would imagine, to cast your rune spell.
Scan time. That is going to be a success for me on the scan.
Okay, fantastic.
It would be a success as well on search. So either one.
We will come back to that. All right.
We cleared. We didn't get locked out of a room this session. Yay! Woo!
Excellent. So do you want to describe your casting process as you head towards the center of the room and you begin to channel this creature forward?
Yeah, she's going to if she and Telos are stepping away from the door even just slightly, she is going to stand in between that threshold and Telos in a very protective manner. She is going to close her eyes, and as if she's molding like a piece of wet clay in between her hands, they're just going to start spinning and spinning and spinning, and that air and that electricity is going to start rolling through her hands. She's probably going to be fighting back tears through this, because the more she's connecting with her air rune, and she's about to literally drop the rest of the magic points she has in this ability, that thought keeps coming to her: you didn't do enough. It's too late. So that is spinning, and that is also spinning inside of her, and then she's going to wind up letting her hands go, and just that way.
Start to build this magic more and more. Wind starts to whip around in the room. All the chains start to jangle bit by bit by bit, getting louder and louder until there's this deafening echo around you. The smoke starts to billow aggressively. And amongst all the chaos, before Iracha lets loose her spell, tell us with a successful scan check, you were going to see one chain that is hanging just around near Iracha's leg stop moving as much and start slithering like a snake. And just as she's at the critical point where she's about to let loose the spell, you can see it looks poised to rise slightly and, like a cobra, strike out towards her. You've noticed this, and you can act to interrupt it if you would like.
I will attempt to. I will bound forward and swing my hand axe down towards it.
Sure. This is just going to be this is Dex times 5.
I'm with you. Dex time. 72 is a success. Okay,
fantastic. So you sprint forward just as the thing fires up. And you manage to slam it back down. Iracha, you hear a clank behind you, but you don't need to worry, because a second later you hear the footsteps of Telos swiping in, and you were able to complete your spell and let it loose. So you can put away this last rune point, and you let out this spirit, which begins to billow around in the room frantically.
Just as added flavor, usually her little things, her little elementals don't have a lot of shape. Can this one be in the shape? I can't think of her name, and I'm looking through my notes. The little girl in the village that she's in love with that currently hates her.
Fantastic. Absolutely. That character is called, let me just bring up my list of things. That is Quayor.
Quayor, yes.
Fantastic. You see the storm, the wind, take for a split second the shape of a young girl. To most other people, might not be anyone, but to the two of you, you can immediately recognize the features that make up Quayor. And then the wind starts to buffet around, the chains get pinned back. This air elemental is loose, it is chaotic, so you probably don't want to get too near to it. I imagine that the collection of you back away, and you can very much imagine this scene now as this is in a room filled with absolute madness. There is constant noise, but the smoke is being dispersed but also pulled around, and every time it tries to sort of like drift away into nothing, part of the wind of the storm that you have created, Iracha, yanks these long tendrils of it back in, and it starts to whip into this tornado. As you are watching, you will hear a voice ring out, a presence. It's in your ears, but it's in the same time in your head. And it starts to say, "Leave me in peace." Echoes. As you step further away from the center of the room, it becomes quieter, and you can't hear it as well, but you're safe from the wind and the chaos around you. The noise continues.
We got his attention.
If you say nothing for a few more seconds, the voice.
I think we will respond. I'm gonna over the sort of the buffet now, and probably too quietly first to hear, and then louder. I'm gonna yell to Iracha, tell her what we want. You can persuade her. I don't have a chance. Tell her we need to know why it's going to our village. Threaten it if we need to.
Okay. She is really concerned about how not well Telos is doing, by the way. Like, that's her typical rock. She's 2 seconds from crumbling if he doesn't get it together. Oh, God. She's going to step towards the door. Speak your name.
You step forward and you cry out. Your voice in particular rings through all of the noise of the storm, because it is a storm of your creation.
That is dope.
Between the clanking chains, the voice speaks again, and it will say, it starts to say its name, and it says several. You hear it echoing overlaid upon itself like some kind of dramatic effect. It says, "It is the march of boots on well-churned grounds. It is failure, not doing enough when it is too late." But it also says 1,000 other things. It is perishing before having my revenge. It is dying in suffering. It is failing like father did, and it is dying before she does. And there's vicious ones, there's sad ones, but you hear overlaid this horrid kind of just blast of regret. Overwhelmingly, regret is probably the biggest, the biggest overriding emotion. You standing there can feel that the wind is disturbing this creature, and after a few seconds, the voice speaks again, and there is a note of implorement in it, and it says, "Call down your beast. We can speak." Chains continue clanking.
She's gonna turn around and look to Telos like,
"Call it back. If we talk, I can reveal to you gifts, knowledge, understanding."
She's looking at Telos. Is Telos giving her nothing? We're gonna die in this tower.
I'm keeping an eye out. I'm ready to fight it if it turns up, which is what I expect is going to happen. I'm also, if I'm aware of how many rune points you have left, I don't think you can call it off. I think it's fucking go time.
I am completely out of the magic. I have all my rune points. I got my big stuff, but I don't have. Yeah, the summon the little air elementals. That's all in my the common rune magic.
Oh yeah, that's
so I've got my big ones, but I don't have any more of those.
It's common rune magic still draws from your rune points.
So you use the same points.
So you when you common magic is like ones that everybody has, then you have specific ones.
So you use rune magic though. So it's
now I probably ran out of these 2 episodes ago. Sorry.
I think you're right. I think we've done too many.
Yeah, I think you're probably pretty on point. Now, one of the things that you can probably you would know, you've let this thing loose. It is still an air elemental. You are still a worshipper of all land. You could probably get some kind of influence on it, but yes, you cannot command it. You cannot call off the beast, so to speak, in a simple way. But the dancer continues to talk. And it starts to whisper, and as it makes one request, another one overlays on top. It's that same kind of vocal modulator effect that you heard before, and it is saying first, "Oh, I mean, you no harm, please. I have hidden here. I left your village. You followed me. And then immediately, I am death made real. If you do not leave, I will destroy you, and I will seek your lands." And then implorement, and at the same time threats, all interwoven. One thing sticks out to you. It starts to say, "You have rivals, you have enemies. I can bring down chaos upon them."
Ooh.
Another thing that sticks out to you is it will say, "I know the names of all those who have died. Are there ones whose fate you seek to understand? I can provide you with that knowledge." Again, just these various things. And then finally, "Call down the beast, or I will put a stop to it."
She's thinking in her head like, you overplayed your hand on that one, buddy. Can I walk into the room? Can she stride into the room comfortably enough?
I had you pictured as a little bit in the room, but you can stride right into the middle if you want to be amongst all the chaos.
Rattling chains around, hell yeah.
Yeah, the rattling chains that are coming off the wall, the mist, Quayor that's running around. She would like to get to the middle of the room. Is there a window or an opening here?
Yes, absolutely. There is one off to the side. There's also the opening that heads out onto the top. This window is a bad one to go out of. It would take you right down on a large floor.
So just striding into the room with everything like flapping and flaring, moving, she is going to get to that window. And if she can, I'm going to try to take this bone you threw at me. She's going to look at Quayor and say, "You're uninvited. There's more room out here." And she's motioning towards the window, trying to invite it out.
Okay, fantastic. I like that. I think here I will take either. So you are an. First of all, you are an all-length worshipper, which is why you are able to do this, basically. I think the most sensible is to ask for an orate check. But what we will do is we will cap your orate check to the value of your storm speech, which is 20. So if you want to augment your storm speech, which is going to allow you to communicate with this creature, you are going to be able to speak to it better. Now, I'm really crossing my fingers that I understand correctly that storm speech is indeed the language that these things speak. Otherwise, we'll be
Storm guy that tracks.
Yeah, we'll try. Okay. She's definitely going to augment with her air rune. So she's rolling under an 85 here.
Very sensible.
Holy shit, guys, she hit an 84. No joke.
Oh, whoa. So by
I don't know if you can see
hell. So that's a success, right?
Success by literally one.
By one.
Phenomenal.
Woo. So
Okay.
we're augmenting.
So that's plus 20 to your storm speech, which will bring it up to 40, which means that your orate skill, which is normally 54, will be able to fire on it at 40. So you'll be making the check against 40 here.
40. Okay, you're looking at my sheet. Do I add that modifier right next to communication as well?
I am not sure how you've done that in mathematics, but I would believe so. Yes, if I were to make a guess.
Listen, this character's apparently been taking a lot of liberties, guys. All right, we're going under.
Oh,
no.
bad face.
No, it's not a fumble, but she rolled a 64. It's
64, just shy, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So you look towards the creature, and it detects here, but it seems to see you, and it seems to recognize you. It is not going to start immediately attacking you, but it just continues to blow around in this area, quicker and quicker, becoming more and more forceful. So, as this happens, the smoke starts to billow around. And you can hear the dancer's voice once more coming in. Forced, trapped, made to be a weapon no more. You will not control me like he did. As the smoke starts to coalesce. So, pulling back for a second. The dancer appears to be materializing.
Kill time.
So, fantastic. Getting it to materialize could have been a pretty difficult process in itself, but then you summoned an air elemental into its bedroom, so that makes a lot of sense. Now, as you can feel this presence arriving, your mind, Telos, you succeeded your battle check earlier. You're going tactically through the entire building.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, all right, there's these explosives down here, and there's these bodies up here. And it occurs to you then suddenly, this thing might be able to use these weapons too.
Oh, I do not doubt that.
Functionally, bombs downstairs and bodies that it can maybe animate, and a bunch of chains that you're now in. If you can all think of a way to bring down this air elemental to try and redirect it, whether that is literally attacking it and baiting it at this point, to get it away, you can probably stem the arrival of the creature for a time. That could allow you to use the last couple of hours to create extra defenses. You could disable all of the explosives. You could burn all of the bodies that are in the laboratory. You could start to break down these chains or something like that. Alternatively, you could make other steps. You could make a sort of a backup room in one of the few areas, barricade a place where you can be safe for a little bit.
Can't imagine it'd just sit there for 2 hours though while we hack its stuff apart. Surely it'll go, no.
You're not entirely. Then again, the other side of that is that with every hour you delay, the undead get closer. So there is a flip side to this. The other thing is, if it spawns now, it's got to deal with an air elemental as well. And that air elemental, while it is going to be hostile, it's not a friend for you. It's big dancer in the darkness, big terrible monster, probably something that it is more earnestly against. You could just decide that this is the moment, this is where the battle is going to commence.
That's where I'm leaning. I'm beginning to creep around the outside and look for position. I have Tellus has one burning question, which is basically, why did you target our village? So I'm probably gonna cry that out in a moment, but beyond that, I think this thing has shown that it's incredibly dangerous, that it's creating a bunch of fairly cooked content. We've seen the Upland Marsh beginning to expand, so clearly it's got some ambitions for, killing stuff, and also it just seems to be doing a bunch of generally heinous things. Time to do what heroes do. Put this thing back in the ground.
As you're moving, you can yell that absolutely, tell us. And the same thing happened, literally in the sort of 10, 15 steps as you kind of stagger against the wind with the buffeting chains, you hear 1,000 different... you hear 1,000 different answers, all kind of slamming in, yelling at you. Overlaid on top of each other, now is a time of change, is a time where the world is shifting. Dragon Pass has always been at the center of everything. It was at the center when this being of regret was around, and it is at the center now when the Lunars and the Sartorites come together and rise dragons and chaos monsters to try and settle their differences. She has been trapped by a being that made this place its home for a time, and that being is a hero. Heroes are always the greatest factors in Glorantha. They are the ones that decide everything. And it came to the tomb of the Varmundi and the Orlevin clan because deep down there, buried, there were two heroes. And it needed heroes, quite simply. But now, you two have come here.
Yeah.
You could be the heroes it needs to effectuate change. It can promise you everything you need. It can promise you the power to smite the Lunars. It can promise you cooperation. It can promise you whatever. And if you don't accept its gift willingly, then it was willing to take heroes in death before, and it will take you two in death now.
Okie dokie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Does it identify the hero that originally trapped it?
The hero that I would...
or is it like not going to tell us that because then we'll...
No. It's just this is sort of like in the seconds. If you yell that, sure.
No, I'm just, does it say during? I probably wouldn't pursue that. I think I've gotten what I need. I'm trying to position myself to start.
It is whispering a name again and again and again. It is not a name that you recognize.
Yeah, okay, cool. And it's also, a lot of it's fairly vibe based and inside your head.
Exactly.
So you get images of hero. I'm with you. Okay, awesome.
Hero heavy quotations, but also literal, I guess.
Okay, give me a moment. I'm working on a very bad plan. I've got a
very bad plan. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, I love those. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. Una momento. So sorry, I'm Tellus is creeping around the side trying to get close to it, and also I'm sure this thing is completely aware of where I am.
Perfect. So, Rachel, let me hear what's on your mind here. You've heard the threat. This thing is materializing. The air elemental is going to provoke it into coming forward and attacking, unless you do something to stop it now. What's going through your mind? What's the thoughts? Are you just ready here? Is the nervousness of battle hitting you, or is there a finality here?
No, it's not the nervousness of battle, which it probably should be after her last encounter with the undead. But I think this is a Rolodex of, oh God, I'm going to make a decision here that was the wrong decision. I'm going to yet again not be enough, not do enough, and I'm going to be too late because it's offering a lot right now. A lot of things that could help us, that could help our tribe, that could help our clan, things that can empower us. So she's honestly going through kind of like a Rolodex in her head. It's like, I don't know how much I can buy into this. I don't know how much I can trust this, but so that's what there's an actual hesitation there as she's watching this air elemental bounce around the room and torment him.
Well, let me ask you just for a little bit of flavor then, while Dave continues to plan. And I might ask you the same thing in a second, tell us. What element is the most attractive to you as an idea? And you can feel free to add in a thought here. This is a powerful creature that could practically offer anything. What almost convinces you?
I hate that you're asking me this because you're going to tee it up and then take it away from me, and then I'm going to be emotional for the rest of the night. Anything that is going to position the Orleving clan? No, that's not us, right? Yeah, that's us.
You are the Orleving, and
yeah, anything that will position the Orleving in a place of power.
The Orleving is the rivals, yes.
Is the rival. So we're the Varmandi. Anything that will put the Varmandi in a position of perpetual power and protection.
Yeah, I mean, that's there. You know, deep in your heart, it's going to come at the cost of everyone else. You know, you will be, your farms will be plentiful because they will have no farms left. You know, but
David,
it's the rage and the storm. Your god Orlanth has wrought incredible destruction upon the world in the past out of passion, and it would be very apt of you to seize onto this, but something's holding you back, I gather.
Yeah, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That's what's holding her back.
Deal with the devil.
Yeah, I can summon them, but I can't control them. You'll have to dispatch it yourself, and then we can talk.
Okay. That final thing, the smoke is billowing. Tell us, is your plan in place?
I think so.
See how we go. Can I ask you briefly if there's a promise that almost tempts you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of all of it. Tellus is definitely. I mean, he does try to, or he tries to be sort of like, you know, intelligence. It's very much a tactical-minded thing. And this power would allow. He's also there's a few bits here. He's also not super. Like he's not very civilized. He's not super tied to the town beyond the people in it. And actually, his best case for a lot of this would be secure the home and the people that are there so that they can be safe, and then he can kind of go and do his own thing a bit. And so if he was able to make a deal with something that was like, yes, I will protect your people so that you don't have to look over your shoulder and you can venture forth and go and do adventures and things, that's quite tempting. But he's so aware of the double-edged blade here. I mean, this thing is evil. Everything it's created seems to just be touched by pollution. And I think that's been embodied so clearly in the marsh that they've been traveling through, where he's seen beasts, which he is quite tied to, turned undead and all messed up and horrible and entraily. I mean, it's, you know, it's power, but at what cost? And I think he's pretty keenly aware that this thing is evil. It also just sets him on edge. And if you can't, you know, if you are so scared that you wouldn't be able to defeat it, then making a deal with it is just turning your back on it and giving it another chance to betray you down the line. Yeah. I don't trust it for shit.
Fair enough. And a final point, just before we leap into the business end, the pointy end. Thing mentioned that it knows who is dead and who isn't, or at least it makes that claim. Does your mother respect your shared mother enter into your mind, or is it more like do you realize you hadn't thought of that in a time, and then in the chaos, it's kind of the last thing in your mind? Is this a sign that you perhaps move past that in favor of other focuses?
For Telos at least, it's actually quite concerning. So the names, or the image of his mother and father absolutely spring into his mind, and then he has to fight to suppress that. Sort of he's burying it back in the subconscious, because I'm afraid that if this thing learns their names and knows that they might be dead, that it could conjure against us, it's only going to strengthen it. It's not just going to go, yeah, they're dead and they're fine. It's going to frickin' reanimate our parents to use against us, which is fucked as hell.
That'd be real messed up.
I don't think I will tell you where my weak points are, demon.
You damn monster thing. Okay, fantastic.
No, that's low-hanging fruit. Iracia would need to know.
Yeah, do it.
That's low-hanging fruit. She would need to know.
You still feel compelled and curious, but at this point, everything is going to go off at once. So with that, we're going to proceed into combat. Now, this is going to be a bulky battle that may have a variety of stages, but all at once, the smoke begins to coalesce and form into a creature. And that creature is going to descend upon the air elemental that has been summoned. So statements of intention. The Dancer in the Dark is going to attack the air elemental after it is formed, which will take it a bit. It will use the latent energies of this place to send the chains, which begin to whipping against each of you. They will try to bludgeon you and tangle you up to limit your effectiveness in combat. The air elemental, which is having a great time just blowing around, is going to get attacked, and it's going to smash at what attacked it with all the rage of Orlanth. What are the two of you going to do? And I'm very excited to hear your plan, Dave.
Well, if it... Okay, all right. I'll walk you through where I went, where I'm at currently.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
At first, I was like,
David.
I've still got rune points. I wonder if there'd be a cool way that I could basically sacrifice and, like, give them to Iratio or something. But I think... I'm still interested in that trend, but I think it might run short. The other one is genuinely... Telos has... Command Cult Spirit is a common rune magic, and
yes.
Yinkin is also tied to air. This is an air elemental.
Meow.
It's within It's within my wheelhouse too, and I also do love the connection that we've established. The lore connection as well is that Yinkin is the half brother of all. And I think we played with this before, that Telos is half brother to Rage. It's quite a lot of fun. I do kind of like the idea that he might be able to command this sort of half. It's like an adjacent spirit. So I kind of like this whole oh we can't command it, we've burned all those spirits. You go, not yet, because I've got 2 left. It takes 2 to cast the spell. I could just barely scrape it out, and there might be some penalties on the power roll given it wasn't mine, but I think that could be quite cool.
No, I am,
and I'll try and zippy dip it.
Completely happy with either of those directions. And to be clear, by my understanding, your Command Cult Spirit is going to be 100% correct. That is going to be entirely valid here, especially with the sort of ingrained extras. So you can totally make that and command it to pull back. Yeah, I just a few reminders. This summon is going to last for about 15 minutes, right? So
it's a few combat rounds.
Pardon me, sorry?
That's a few combat rounds, yeah.
Combat rounds. If you pull it back now, and then you take hours preparing.
Oh, I'm not planning to pull it back. I'm just trying to coordinate a little better. So
yeah, okay, that's totally fine then. That's totally, you can absolutely do that first round of combat. Yeah, so you can take that action if you would like. It's a rune magic spell, so it will happen on round 1, which means that functionally I will allow you to completely reprioritize this thing's attacks. Strike rank line, rather.
I think it's cool enough that I kind of just want to do it. Actually, because this thing's gonna fight it anyway. That's what I was gonna have it do. But let's make sure it sticks to its guns. So yes, that is my intent, James.
Okay, fantastic. So you were going to spin about and you were going to cast this spell. Iratio, what are you going to do?
The last thing she said to it is, I can summon them, but I can't control them. And it's almost manifesting now. And she told it that she wanted to talk. She just couldn't deal with the air elemental herself. So she's actually just going to go to move out of the room. And I think she's going to start doing the spinning hand thing. She literally has no more magic to cast at this point. But that thing doesn't know that. So she's just outside of the room. And she's getting ready to summon another one if it starts on some bullshit.
That is
hilarious.
Awesome. I absolutely love it. Fantastic idea. I think, do you want to make an intimidate check?
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that. We can do that. Yep, perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So both of you are going to be acting early, right? So and these things are reactive. So let's just get your rounds out of the way. You're casting a rune spell, Telos. Give us, just to start off with, an air rune check.
Yeah. I was thinking what just like the coolest way to do it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you.
I reckon there's a few points here where I can wobble this roll. So the air elemental is currently it's in the center of the room. Chains and shit are getting flung towards it, and it's buffeting them back. It's got the form of a young girl, the one from our village.
I imagine is kind of sweeping around, sort of blasting everything about, but that's up to you. And it's sort of competing against the encroaching darkness and encroaching smoke of the Dancer in the Dark.
Yeah, and sort of, shadows being flung like silk. I'm creeping around the outside, getting buffeted to shit by chains, and the shield's getting broken away. And I think as I rage, it, has a cool idea, like, I summon it, but I can't control it, and steps back. Telos realizes that he might have a chance. I'm going to lower the shield for a moment to hold out a hand, and as I attempt to affect the spirit, I'm going to try and morph its form slightly as well, and it's going to kind of blend more. I think it's like it's still Quayor slightly, but I'm like the bestial, like hulks over a little bit and claws. Yes. And my goal for it is going to be to have it cast back shadows and give us the opening that we can close, like show us this thing and draw its attention that we might strike it down.
I love it. There's got to be some kind of, this is literally YouTube powering, the spell to create a spirit that is the manifestations of your personality.
This is our like fucking Voltron fusion hub bullshit
right?
power.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I need art. I need art of this thing.
The half superimposed images of Orlanth and Yinkin over all of it. Sick. All right, Aaron, let's roll poorly and butcher this whole thing.
Don't do that.
No.
I think you know what? In response to the functionally the assist from Iraichi here, the combo of all of it, take plus 20. I so want this.
All right. So I need to roll an air, and then it's gonna be an opposed power roll. I'm generally thinking where I need to get my passion
and the other
invokes.
thing,
Okay, the air I'm not gonna invoke. I'm gonna save it for the power roll because I think I need to.
Okay.
That's the tougher one
this
for
is
me.
the new scene. This is now the battle.
All right, air rune time. So I'm rolling under 50 normal, 70 with the assist. Come on, baby. 54. It's a 54. That would have been a fail.
Oh my god, it would have failed. It would have failed. Oh god, it would have failed.
God damn. All right.
Fantastic.
So the spell does cast. I'm reducing my rune points by 2. Oof, that's heavy. The being must obey if its power is overcome by the caster's power in a resistance roll.
Power versus power now. So I'm going to get up the table. Please make for me a power check.
Okay, first I'm going to invoke. I'm going to first start with Love Family for my passion, because I think that fully tracks for our sweet fusion powers. So rolling under 70 for my invoke. 63, that is a success. So I'm going to increase this by 10, 20? What's
plus 20.
It's plus 20, is it? Okay. And then I'm rolling on the resistance table. So my power is 60 plus 20. I'm getting to 80.
Getting to 80 power. Perfect. Good to know.
Okay. Same power. So I think this then just reduces. So based on the resistance table, that will reduce my power roll. So I change what I'm rolling against. So I'm at 80 currently.
Yep.
Is that still what my roll is, or is it reduced?
Let me roll this thing's. Let me roll.
I don't think it rolls. I think it's just you just compare them.
No, I need to roll this thing's power.
Oh, okay.
Because
it's a randomly hell yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Kind of hope it's a weak one. Kind of hope it sucks.
Idiot. Well, look, it might have low power, but that doesn't mean it statistically has any weaker stats beyond that. You are looking for it has a power of 35.
Oh, okay. All right. I feel good about that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the resistance table? What am I rolling under now?
So I believe now let me just get up the rules. The power of 35 for it, that is functionally 7 against your, what was yours again?
Mine's 18 currently. Functional, yeah. No, sorry, no, it is. I'm 16. 16.
Yeah, that might just be
might be an auto succeed.
Success. Yeah. Okay. All right. Please.
Oh.
I'll roll anyway. But yeah, success.
Success. Yeah, you are good. So give us the full description.
Yeah, hell yeah. So everything is getting buffeted. I don't think it's super clean. I think as I'm coming out, I'm getting clobbered by chains and things, but it's not enough. And I think as with Iraicha standing in the doorframe and Telos standing in the shadows and then reaching a hand out, you can see like right between the two of us is this wind elemental, which is beginning to take forms into both. And I think for a moment, you'll see a sort of a very heroic figure, like a woman now with like elongated arms and claws and sweet ass fangs, looking tight as hell.
Yes.
And then I think it forms for just a blink, and then there's sort of like a crack of pseudo thunder or something, and then it vanishes, and it now is completely formless and just wind casting back shadows and buffeting the thing back, and hoping that this will let us see what it is we are fighting.
Okay.
Oh my God, David.
Absolutely fantastic. Iracha, can I get you to make the intimidate? And just for the confusion with chat, when I said 35, I was timesing it by 5. That's where the confusion has arisen. It lands, I'm pretty sure. Please, Iracha, an intimidate check from you.
I need math help. She hit a 12 under a 51.
No,
Yep.
just off. 60.
Just
would be
off of a
your-
special?
Yeah,
Got
I
it.
believe so.
Okay.
So just regular success.
That's still a regular success. So what is going to happen is you begin to chant, you begin to cast your own magic, pseudo, pretend. You are going to be able to see the dancer in the dark materialize. It is going to arrive at the spirit. It is going to manifest in the room. I'm going to show what the creature looks like
Oh, yes, please.
at this point.
Move it over a little bit. Yeah. Oh, it's a person. It's a person. I'm going to clobber her with my axe.
Except for a little bit of a point of difference here. This particular dancer in the dark is older, much older. Takes the form of a woman who looks probably in her mid to late 60s, and her clothing is much more ornate and elegant, and it's beginning to get that sort of weird ghost-like shredding at the edge. As she arrives, and she will howl, the chains are going to all slam in. As the wind buffets her, you will see that every little bit of damage that is done to her is going to come off in these tiny wisps of smoke that appear to then coalesce one room further down.
What are they doing that for? Go, stop it.
And with that in mind,
Behave yourself.
we're going to call an end just as the battle begins.
Oh, hell, it's going to be a
little
big
bit
battle. Big
early
battle.
this time, because it's going to be a big one. So,
Hell yeah.
thank you so much to you two. That was a great session. So much wonderful role playing, and I really, really appreciate it. I love how this is going to go. Dave, I'm going to get you the stats for an air elemental for combat for next time, and we will jump in. We'll be able to defeat this creature, and we'll be able to put an end to the evil here, or to you guys. What? And to the season, and to our RuneQuest adventures for the year. Thanks so much to everybody for watching. Thanks to Sirenscape, the wonderful tool that we use to improve our games. Thanks to Dave, thanks to Bridget, and thanks to chat, and to RQ Staffen jumping in with excellent rules clarifications as always.
Cheers, Jimbo.
Bridget, do you want to say a farewell to everyone?
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Perfect. Done and dusted. Everyone knows where to find you by now.
Everyone knows where to find me. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Bridge with 2 T's.
Dave?
Bye. See you next week. Sorry, I'm so hyped. Yeah, can't wait to kill this thing.
I'm so pumped.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, everybody. Remember to jump in for the final Call of Cthulhu session for the year on the Stream of Chaos this weekend, this Friday if you're in the US.
Yarr.
And we'll see you next week.
See you soon.
Mwah.